Re-emerging from a 5-year hiatus in 1987 with the Cloud 9 album, George Harrison found his greatest commercial success in over a decade. Guitar-wise, though, Harrison really stood out at the time, a man still wowing with his rich, slide-powered melodies and storytelling touch when the Shred Hurricane was at its most powerful. Obviously, a Beatle, much less the most influential of the lot when it comes to the guitar, was never going to have to respond to trends, but the topic of Harrison's soloing strategies nonetheless came up when he sat down for an interview with Guitar World in 1988. Harrison said that while he was happy to improvise when needed, when it came to laying something down in the studio, he was far more comfortable charting out a path in advance. These players who wheel their equipment into studios and play a lot of sessions will either read a part or play spontaneously, Harrison said. I need more time than that. Now there was, Harrison said, an exception to this, and it's one of the greatest solos he ever set to tape, the one found on his ballad, Something. Now that, the Beatles said of the Titanic Abbey Road track, is an example of that kind of thing where I find roughly where I can go. In those days, I don't know if that was an 8-track or whatever, but I remember specifically that it wasn't a clean, empty track to put that solo on. Ringo was overdubbing something, and Paul was overdubbing something at the same time I was doing my solo. So in order for me to practice, I'd say, let's do it again and again. But they'd have to do their bits too. Though the Fab Four were on the verge of dissolution by this point, elements of their musical camaraderie, especially when greatness was at hand, still existed. I did that solo a number of times, and then we left and went on holiday, came back, put the tape back up, and I was very pleasantly surprised because I did hit some right notes, and it did have a certain spontaneity to it. So there you have it, kids. Smoke something, don't know what you're doing, and you too will create something as magical as the Beatles.